In January 2025, the skies over Washington, D.C. became the site of a devastating mid-air collision between a passenger jet and a U.S. Army helicopter. The disaster was absolute. Every soul on board both aircraft was lost in an instant, leaving a city in shock and families in mourning. At first glance, it seemed like a tragic accident caused by human error, a momentary lapse in judgment with a permanent cost. But as investigators from the NTSB dug deeper into the flight logs and black box data, a different picture began to form. Disturbing questions about airspace safety and systemic failures emerged. This wasn't just about one pilot, it was about the system itself. What really happened that night? Was it a failure of technology or a breakdown in communication that could happen again? Tonight, we uncover the full story of this mid-air collision mystery and the truths that were nearly buried in the wreckage. The investigation starts now.
American Airlines Flight 5342 was approaching Reagan National Airport when it crossed paths with a Black Hawk helicopter on a routine training mission. This region is one of the busiest and most sensitive airspaces in the United States. Military and civilian flights operate side by side, and strict protocols are meant to prevent disasters. Yet, in this case, those protocols failed. Radar data later revealed that the jet and the helicopter were on converging flight paths, at nearly the same altitude. Weather was clear, visibility was good, and the pilots were experienced. But something went catastrophically wrong. The helicopter had inadvertently ascended above its permitted altitude due to a faulty altimeter reading. The crew believed they were tracking a different aircraft and did not realize they were in the direct path of Flight 5342. On the passenger jet, pilots were preparing for final descent and were relying on air traffic control to maintain separation. Radar shows that both aircraft were only seconds away from impact. There was almost no time to react. And the collision was sudden and total. Both aircraft plummeted into the Potomac River. Emergency crews were able to recover wreckage and human remains from the freezing waters, but there were no survivors. The immediate aftermath left families and authorities stunned.
The National Transportation Safety Board and the FAA launched an immediate investigation. Flight data recorders and cockpit voice recordings were analyzed in painstaking detail. Investigators concluded that the collision resulted from a combination of pilot misjudgment, air traffic control lapses, and system failures. One key finding: the helicopter's transponder was functioning, but radar controllers did not issue timely alerts. The FAA later acknowledged that its collision avoidance and monitoring protocols were outdated for areas where civilian and military traffic intersect. This is where the mystery deepens. On paper, mid-air collisions are extremely rare in modern aviation. Yet, despite advanced technology, warnings from past incidents had gone unheeded. Could a system failure alone explain why two experienced crews failed to avoid each other? Or was there more at play?
First, human error played a central role. The helicopter crew misidentified the aircraft they were tracking, assuming it was a distant plane. Simultaneously, the jet crew relied heavily on air traffic control instructions, assuming they had separation from all nearby aircraft. Second, air traffic control procedures were overwhelmed in this congested airspace. Investigators noted that alerts could have been communicated faster, potentially giving the pilots a chance to avoid the collision.
Perhaps most alarming, systemic safety failures contributed. Modern collision avoidance systems were not consistently enforced. FAA rules allowed certain training flights to bypass automatic safety alerts, leaving human judgment as the last line of defense. This raises uncomfortable questions. Why were known gaps in safety regulations not addressed before this disaster? And why did a combination of minor errors lead to total catastrophe? The collision underscores a chilling truth. Even in the most regulated airspace in the world, disaster is only a few seconds away. Aviation experts argue that policies must be updated. Until policies are updated to prevent military and civilian paths from overlapping, this type of accident could happen again. For families of the victims and aviation safety advocates, the mystery is not just what went wrong, it is why authorities failed to prevent it. Despite decades of warnings, the systems remained unchanged. The search for accountability continues. This tragic collision was more than human error. It was a convergence of human mistakes, communication failures, and outdated regulations. While investigators have officially attributed blame to both pilots and air traffic control, the underlying question remains unanswered. Could another mid-air disaster strike in the skies over Washington, D.C.? Only time and reform will tell. Until then, the mid-air collision remains a stark reminder of the fragility of our skies. To cover up these mysteries, subscribe to our channel. Join us next time for Area 51.